Now, tomorrow night, Emmerdale will have a special flashback episode that will show the extent of Tom's controlling behaviour. It follows months of abuse against his wife, Belle.
One day, when it was about us, instead, you just let your family ride roughshod, take over, and ruin the entire thing. You're like a human pinball, bouncing around from one stupid mistake to the next.
It's my mum. Her ashes.
Stop lying!
Tom, don't! No, don't! I'm pregnant! I've had an abortion.
Look, what about our holiday in Wales we were talking about? I mean, that'll do us a world of good.
James Chase, who plays Tom, joins us now. Thank you so much, James. This has just been an incredibly intense storyline and one you have to navigate really sensitively because it sadly resonates with so many people. The headlines today are about violence against women and children.
It happens,
It's a national emergency, so you really feel that within a soap, and a soap can do that really well. It can touch people within their own living rooms. It gets a story out there.
Yeah, I think a storyline like this lends itself to a soap really well because we can show the details and the little moments of, you know, a relationship that has coercive control in it. Because we have 6 episodes a week, so you can show the tiny details of, you know, for example, when he didn't like the way she was doing the washing, and it had to be done in a very specific way. And I think that shows just the tiny details that he will go to, you know, control her completely.
And to see the situation from the different perspectives, I think, from home, I think that's really, really important. But when Tom and Belle got married back in sort of February, it was now, isn't it? You kind of thought it was, you know, seemed happy enough. And, you know, it was like a normal setup. Everything was okay. And suddenly you've found yourself having to almost switch between two characters.
Yeah, in a way, because obviously I played Tom for 7-8 months of him being, you know, for the most part, a good guy. The occasional red flag, which I think you're going to get.
Yeah.
But, but I think it was interesting going from, you know, doing that episode, The Wedding, which was predominantly a really lovely day, I think, for Belle. There were hiccups throughout the day, but it was, well, apart from the fight, I suppose, with Nate and Caleb, but it was a lovely moment. But to contrast that with what happens at the end when Tom shows what he's really like, yeah, that certainly was a switch of character, for sure.
Yeah, and I can imagine quite difficult sometimes to play too because of having to sort of switch between those two roles. But a lot of it has been very difficult to watch the coercive behaviour, the physical nature of the abuse.
Yeah.
And I know you've both been working with various charities just to get a sense of real experiences from real survivors, and it's been very important.
Yeah, 100%. We've had Zooms and meetings and things like that, and I think a few members of the charities were previous sort of survivors themselves, and so to hear it firsthand from them, I think gave us just like a sort of a real, you know, it's just something real that we could imbue into it because we'd met literal people that had been in these situations.
Yeah, of course. Well, tonight we see Kane and Charity becoming increasingly worried.
Yeah.
But tomorrow night is this very special flashback episode. And we'll talk about it in a sec, but we do have an exclusive clip. This is from tomorrow night's episode.
Cottage on the right.
Yep. Oh, it looks beautiful. Even better than the pictures.
I know. How did you actually find it?
Oh, yeah. Just pulled a few strings.
Should we capture the moment?
You know, we can actually have a good time without documenting the entire holiday. I just want you all to myself.
Oh dear, very ominous. It just doesn't bode well for Belle,
No,
does
it doesn't, bless her.
And of course, being a dingle, the dingles do stick together.
They do, yeah. You'd think he would be a bit more careful considering the track record of what Kane can do to previous, you know, naughty, bad people.
Yeah, so anything is possible. And I'm guessing you can't give us any steers at all about what happens.
I can't. I think that would be bad. I think they would get annoyed at me if I spoilt it right now.
Yes.
So.
No, I did assume, but I thought I'd ask just in case. How do you manage to separate yourself from Tom when you go home? I mean, a lot of emotions must hang around when you're playing such an intense role.
I think I've luckily, you know, I've been acting since I was about 12 years old in like amateur dramatic shows and things like that, and I've played other complicated, you know, villainous characters. So I'm glad I'd done that because it helped me coming into this. But yeah, there are definitely days where it's, you know, you're doing a lot of difficult scenes, a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting, and especially the physical stuff. But I think, you know, myself and Eden, who's obviously my brilliant co-star, we know we have to honour this story, you know, really carefully because of how important the issue is. So I think that's always our main goal, to keep your eye on the target of just getting the scenes right. And I think once you're done, it's just, if you can walk away and you're happy with what you've done. That's...
And I know your friendship, obviously, with Eden is important too. But James, it's such an interesting story. Like we say, big story coming up tomorrow night. Emmerdale continues tonight, of course, at 7:30. Thank you so much, James.